I invite Professor Ashok Jhunjhunwala, President of the IITM Research Park and the Incubation Cell, to deliver the Plenary Master Keynote Address, our inaugural talk of this event.
I will start straight away. Can you give me because we are quite a bit late, and I'll try to make it as short as possible while they are removing this. I am starting with a title, fairly provocative title. Is GHG emission moving the Earth towards destruction? How do we mitigate it? That's what I will try to put together and give you a quick picture of how whole thing can be done. So, in fact, this is a nice picture that was created by my team. Is Pralaya coming? We all know what Pralaya is. Are we moving the Earth towards this? And if we start taking a look, a little bit detailed at what are the indicators, we find that all the indicators are for that. 6 of the 9 planetary boundaries are already exceeded in 2023. So the question that I'm saying is Pralaya coming? And how do we really go about trying to do something different? Let us look, before we talk about it, who is contributing to this? And who is impacted most? This is important. Who is contributing to this Earth's destruction? And who is impacted most? And if you find that top 1% of the people are actually contributing, top 1%. Most of the contribution is coming top 1% in any country in the world and top 1% in the world. That is, every country there are people who belong to top 1% who are contributing to this. And overall, India's emission, per capita emission, as was being pointed out, was only a third. Overall emission is already third, even though the per capita emission is small. Per capita emission alone doesn't matter because our overall contribution is already third. And the way we are growing, the way our GDP is growing, the way our economy is growing, which is a good thing, but the way we are growing, we will start knocking and becoming number 2 in about 10 years' time. So whether we like it or not, even though our per capita contribution is small, we are also responsible for destroying the world. But who is affected most? It is clear that the lowest income people all over the world are impacted most. They are the first to be impacted. Many of us can hide in our well-built homes and all that, but the lowest income people will get impacted and nothing much can be done. And even if you see the pollution due to the fossil fuel, and you see India's the top cities in the world, which are now the most polluted ones, and 46 of the 100 cities are in India. Of course, China is also very strongly there. And our Ghaziabad, Bulandshahr, Jalalpur, Bhiwandi, Noida, Greater Noida, each are the top few cities. We are, Hotan, China, of course, is number 1, but after that, we are actually following. So, what are the transition pathways? We cannot just talk about that things are going wrong. What do we need to do? The transition pathways, technologically wise, is known. First, we have to move all the fossil fuel to green fuels. That even fortunately, the COP28 also has kind of said, we will do this. They haven't given the time frame, but moving all uses to green energy, whether it is a biofuel, green hydrogen, green electricity from solar, wind, nuclear, bio, this is what already technology is largely known. The second most important thing is we are wasting a huge amount of energy. And this conference is going to focus on each aspect. We are wasting particularly large amount of energy in heating and cooling. 46% of world's energy is used in heating and cooling. And we are using it very inefficiently. Electric motors and controllers uses 48% of world's electricity, not the energy, but electricity. Again, we are really using it mostly inefficiently. Green buildings, green transportation. How do we go about doing things? Then, of course, the very important role of circular economy. We are throwing more and more. How do we recycle? How do we carbon capture, utilization, and sequestration? This is the pathways. These are things that we really need to do. And of course, a sustainable lifestyle. Let me talk a little bit. How do we go about doing this? The pathways are known, but how do we get there? What is the approach? Basically, I understand only one approach, and Chris will support me, that you make each of the technologically, economically viable. Once they're economically viable, there will be attraction towards that, people will move that. As long as it is not economically viable, we can keep on subsidizing here, there, but we'll keep pushing, only so much can be achieved. If you want a very quick transition, it has to be made commercially viable. Now, what has been already made commercially viable, what has not? Solar and wind has been made commercially viable. 20 years back, it was not. 10 years back, it was not. Today, solar and wind we can deploy at 2 rupees to 3 rupees per kilowatt hour. So that is already viable. We don't have to really talk about it. But what should be there for our focus? Unfortunately, all the solar PV, most of it we are importing. So our focus will be, can we own the technology? Can we manufacture the technology? And this will be a major focus of this workshop. Wind, we are already doing 120 meters, 150 meters will capture much more wind. And then, of course, offshore wind. Again, can we do it make it economically viable? Micro-nuclear will be one of the major focus of this conference, because we strongly believe what we need is replace all these diesel generators. 5 megawatt diesel generators can be replaced with 5 megawatt micro-nuclear. And can we make it extremely, not only economically viable, and also highly safe? And what I'm talking about it is tens of thousands per year, not 5, 10, or 20. The total numbers will add up to this. And make bioelectricity. Bioelectricity is today not economically viable. Can we make it viable? Green buildings is our next major pathway. Can we make all the buildings, can we make this campus completely green, at least 90% green? 75% electricity today in India is consumed by commercial, industrial, and HIG complex. These are the things which do not lack money, funds. They have funds. Can we make them green? And I think this is the first approach. And we need to run on this. We can't walk slowly onto this. Energy storage will be, of course, the key technology, because solar and wind is not 24/7. And therefore, energy storage, batteries, whether it can be used for short-term, long-term. Wind, for example, is very heavy in 4 months, 5 months in the year. Can we use it 4 months away? And I think this is the kind of work that we really need. And 40% electricity in buildings is used for cooling. So therefore, that is going to be the major focus of the conference. Green transportation. Of course, electric vehicles are scaling today. Two-wheeler, three-wheeler already is happening. Even four-wheeler is happening. Long distance buses and trucks are still far away. What is the answer for that? And we in this conference will have a special focus on urban mobility. Basically, in urban areas today, it takes 2 hours to go from one place to another. Minister was complaining that he couldn't come. How do I get in Chennai from one place to another place comfortably in 20 minutes? How can I do so that in Bangalore? How can I do this in Delhi? How can I do it in Bombay, in every city? And we think we have an outline of a solution, hashtag. That will be a major focus. There is a demo also for this hashtag. Today we will present that. There is a special session on hashtag. Green hydrogen, all of us know, will be very, very important. We need to bring the cost down. But what we will present in this is that the first usage of green hydrogen will be to use it to make ammonia. Today we make ammonia using fossil fuel. Then to make cement, steel, aluminium, glass, all of them are using today fossil fuel, coal, oil, and other gas. Can we make them using green hydrogen? That will be a first focus. And of course, carbon capture will be equally important, because without carbon capture, you can't really do everything, because there will be still carbon and you will have to do that. Heating and cooling, as I pointed out, contributes 50% of energy today. And what is called coefficient of performance is 1.5. That's a kind of efficiency. Can we make it 6 or more? People like Professor Satya has been charged, saying that can we do that in the next 5 years, 6 or more, instead of from 1.5 to 6. This will be a major focus of this conference. Making and motors and controllers much more energy efficient will be another major focus of the conference. This is what I was talking about hasty. We have a kind of model. We have worked it out in detail. Can I get in a city comfortably using a pod in 20 minutes, fully using green electricity, far more energy efficient than what we are using today? We'll have a special presentation on this. But I want to end this presentation and then very briefly, 5 more minutes, talk about what the conference will have by saying this. This is a very, very important curve. This is how world's energy usage has gone up over the last 220 years. This is so when India per capita is consuming still very low energy. Africa is consuming very low energy. Many emerging market is consuming very low energy. China is consuming more, but even then, nothing like Europe. What happens if all of us start consuming energy like Europe? So this will go further up. Then do we expect technology to fix it? This is something that I think we are not paying enough attention. And it keeps on reminding me for this famous clause of Mahatma Gandhi, a statement of Mahatma Gandhi made 100 years back, much before we understood all this. The world has enough for everyone's need, but not for everyone's greed. If we keep on pursuing a single directional lifestyle that all of us are pursuing, I'm sorry, I don't think any technology can help us. And if it is a question of being happy, I strongly believe that we have the ability to live happily, consuming much less energy. I think I will end my keynote with this, but just highlight a few things that we'll do in this whole workshop. Already Anson told about it. There are very special sessions we are organizing in this conference. For example, there are 4 important brainstorming sessions. These are purely brainstorming, no presentations. 4 of them will go on in parallel. They are all brainstorming, as I pointed out. One of them in parallel, 2 to 6 today. This is all the CSIR labs which are working on green technology have been brought together with a single focus, lab to market. Because just being there in the lab is of no use. So this is a focus. It was supposed to be chaired by me and DGCSR. DGCSR last minute has to drop out, but we will continue this. This is important because we have to push them to move towards the market. I think it's a very important conference. If people have time, they should do this. As has been talked about, I believe I've become a strong believer in micronuclear. Of course, taught by Kakokar sir. He has been teaching me this for last 20 years, 15, 20 years. Of course, overall nuclear, but micronuclear is what we really can achieve. And places like Research Park enter the lead. And of course, many nuclear scientists have come together. Again, a brainstorming session, 4 hours. Again, no presentation. I know people want to make big presentation. In the conference, we can do presentation. Brainstorming session will be pure discussion. Then there is a very important on 6th morning, energy transition through solar photovoltaic. Unfortunately, all this technology is not with us. Today, all solar PV is coming from China, all over the world. And we want to change that. We want to change them bit by bit. And we have been here at IIT Madras, and we are working with partners, some startup companies and others, how to actually get the leadership back. And this will be a focus on 6th January from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Then in the afternoon, heating and cooling. Another very, very, heating and cooling and motors and controller. Extremely important brainstorming session, why we can take a lead onto this. So these are the 4 sessions. Then we have a special session on hashtag today evening. Last session, 6:15 to 6:30, plus a panel discussion today on hashtag. Urban mobility, very important that we cannot continue in the current manner and still make a difference. Some more sessions. On 5th January, between 4 p.m. to 5 p.m., we have a very unique panel discussion. We have Consulate General from USA, UK, France, and Australia coming here. And we want to talk to them in what way India can partner with them and achieve this dream. They have technology. But remember, why India becomes very important. We, with 1.4 billion people today, either we'll move in the same direction as Europe has gone, in which case we'll destroy the world. If you have to go opposite direction, we need all the technology and all the help from them. Same thing will happen with Africa tomorrow. Africa is another continent, 1.4 billion. But you know, they are growing very rapidly. Fortunately, we are at least leveling off. They are growing very rapidly. If their per capita income goes up, they will destroy the world. So we'll have to stop that. Then this conference was supposed to be held a month back, and you know what has happened. Many of you may have seen picture. I myself was driving to come to the conference, and about half a kilometer from here, my car got stuck. I had to abandon, walk. Car was there for 2 days. How do we do urban flood mitigation? See, we have to also start the mitigation strategy because destruction of the earth has already begun. And we'll have a very interesting, short half-an-hour session. The final thing that I want to point out, pitch to win, as has been pointed out, a lot of youngsters have come and they are making a presentation on the startups that they are trying to create. Thank you. That's what we'll do. Thank you. And we'll break for